Hello and welcome to another video. And today I actually want to talk about my motorcycling and my motorcycle learning journey. And yeah, it's been a long one to be fair, and it's been a bit longer and probably more expensive than the average motorcycling journey or learning towards getting your full license. So in the UK, you are required to take 3 exams. So one of them is a theory test, which, yeah, that actually came quite easy to me. It was quite straightforward. Actually, I'm wrong. You actually need to take 4 tests. So you actually need to do a CBT, which is a compulsory bike training course. It takes about a day and it costs about between 150 and £200, depends on if you take it at the weekend and so on. Then you could do that step before or after the CBT. You need to do a theory test. So the theory test was quite straightforward. You just kind of have to learn a bit about the differences between what car motorists are required rather than motorcyclists, and yeah, the difference there being a few legislation differences, stuff about towing with your motorbike, which I didn't even know was possible, but it was quite interesting. And yeah, that came quite easy. I passed the first time, and then you're on to the module 1, which is performed on a pitch, and there's cones around, and you perform a bunch of slow and high speed maneuvers, which normally comes quite easy to people. However, it seems like it didn't come easy to me, so I failed my module 1 twice and I passed on the third time. I was getting very discouraged, if I'm being honest. I just thought maybe motorcycling wasn't for me. I had invested so much money so far. I did practice runs before, and it was just getting really expensive, and I already had at that point, by the time I failed it the second time, I actually bought a motorbike, and I just thought, it's becoming very, I was already committed, but it's becoming a bit discouraging. So I worked quite hard on reading about different loopholes or some way that I could do it on my own motorbike, and I found this company, BikeSure, not sponsored or suggested or recommended to use them. That's just my personal experience, and maybe you could get some value out of it. So I used them to insure me for a month so that I can take my test on my own bike, which would then save me spending money through the motorcycling school. The lesson is £150 plus the £15.50 for the mod 1. So each attempt of the module 1 cost me £165. And then the practice from before that, the weekend prior, or 2 weekends prior to that, was £205, I think, which just between those 3 attempts, it's a lot of money. And I just decided that I need to take it into my own hands, and that's what I did. And I insured my bike, and I asked a friend who, honestly, he's been probably one of the biggest supports in this journey, because he's been riding the bike over for me. Overall, it's been 4 times he's had to help me out, and I'm eternally grateful to Lewis. He's been awesome, and yeah, his content is really good as well on the motorbikes. I think it's called Tartan Roads. Yeah, I suggest you follow his Instagram account. So once I've passed that, once I passed it on my own bike, it was such a buzz because I genuinely thought I was never going to get through this, and it was on to the module 2. So the first module 2 that I booked, I was excited for it, I was buzzing, I watched so many videos. I never had practice around the test centre or anything, and I really should have gone out in my own car at least and familiarised myself with the roads. But what I decided to do was just to blag it, and we got to the day, and it was a super early one. It was an 8 a.m. start. So got to the unit to pick up the bike, and as we were on the way, everything was already paid and ready to go. The test gets cancelled, and the next test was the following Tuesday. So it was another week and a half of worrying, concerning myself, being concerned about if I pass or fail, or just a few more sleepless nights, so to say. So that was a bit annoying. Then the day comes off the actual first attempt. So then I run through all the safety questions, and I just didn't feel comfortable on the bike that day. I just didn't feel confident on it. I don't know what it was, but I probably was constantly worried that I was doing something wrong throughout the whole ride. I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know how to behave, and I was just a bit too cautious even. I was waiting far too long for cars to pass, and I was constantly just concerned about everything, and I just thought that I failed it. Constantly, single thing that I did, I just thought I had failed it. So I did actually fail that test, that attempt. So I didn't actually notice speed limit sign in a certain area, and I was slightly over it. But I quickly slowed down once I realised, however, I was too late. I had already failed the test. And there was another bit where I didn't take the correct lane on the 5-lane roundabout. Completely my fault. You know, I've got car driving experience. There's no excuse really to not be able to read the signs on the ground and prior to the roundabout. But that was completely my fault, and I did take that away, and I learned from it. And the next thing that I found quite challenging was booking another test. So I thought there was going to be a test probably the following week, or just quite soon after, maybe up to a week. There was no tests available at all in Edinburgh, and I had to book one for Kirkcaldy for 3 weeks time, and I just kept refreshing the page just in case there was another test that came up. And I was lucky enough to find one, but it seems like the driving schools, I think that's what they do, just book out all the tests, and then they just sell them to their students, and if they don't manage to sell the tests, or if their students don't pass their mod 1s, they have to cancel the mod 2s. So they just they become available. So I definitely was on the website a few times a day just to check. So I did manage to get a slot. I rebooked it for Edinburgh, and this time around I just thought there's nothing to lose, whatever happens happens, I just do my best. But this time around I did actually go in my car around the test centre routes. Not that I know the routes, but I just went round, I actually went around the same test route that I failed first time, which was very useful because I actually got that same route again. So it was very lucky, to be fair, because I familiarised myself again, and it was very useful. So this time round, I definitely paid a bit more attention to the road signs. I was a bit more aware of my surroundings, and I didn't rely too much on my prior knowledge of the roads, but I was actually just reading the signs, making sure that I'm doing the correct things, and I'm a bit more aware. And lo and behold, it was a success. I was so happy when the examiner came back and told me the good news. I genuinely thought that I had failed because my indicator switch was just not playing ball. So every time I would indicate into a junction, if it was a left turn, it would be next to impossible to switch it off with the button in the middle. So I would keep pressing that button, but it would just not hit the right spot for it to cancel the indicator. And I actually even had to turn it into the right indicator so that I can actually cancel it then, because it was easier to cancel it from the right than it was from the left. So that was fine because I never actually made it an unsafe situation for anyone. I just took care and I tried to cancel it best I could. And the examiner took that into account. He realised that I wasn't unsafe. I just did the best I could with the situation, and it was a pass. I'm so excited, so happy. I probably won't be able to get on the bike for a little bit because I've got my work and I've got things to do. But the first opportunity I get, I will be right on that bike. And I suppose the first hurdle is to get it insured fully, because right now it's just on a third-party insurance while I was learning. But yeah, I thought I would share my journey because it wasn't an easy one, and it was very discouraging at some points. It was a bit frustrating, and I even thought about possibly that motorbiking was probably not for me and so on. But the reality is, is just all about persistence. It's about consistency. It's about just taking the next step. When I failed it, I didn't hesitate. I just booked it for the next available slot. When I failed it again, I booked it for the next available slot. And I kind of took money out of the equation because I knew this was going to be a license that I would have for life, and that I need to just get over this hurdle. And in many years' time, even a few months' time, even to be fair, today, it's just been a learning experience, and I don't really mind, because that pass certificate has just been worth it. So yeah, I thought I'd share my journey, and I hope it's encouraged you to keep persisting with your motorbike training. And if you failed, I know it's very easy to watch the videos of people boasting how they passed first time on both, and it's not really helpful for someone that's failed. But I can promise you, if you keep trying, keep practicing, and you keep attempting those tests, you will pass. And if I'm honest, it's made me a better rider, because I have learned the significance of those lifesavers and of those checks and everything that you need to do while on the road and on those exams. It's definitely raised my confidence, and I think it's probably made me even a better and a safer rider to myself and for everyone else around me as well. Yeah, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope I've provided some value, and yeah, keep on riding if you're a rider. And if you're not a rider and you just got to the end of this video, then whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're attempting to do, whatever you're fighting to achieve, make sure that you stay consistent, stay on your goal, and make sure that you take the next step. If you fail, take the next step towards the result. Don't just give up because you've had a single setback. That's too easy. Thank you very much for joining me for another video, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.